When I didn't graduate high school, I didn't feel like it was the end of the world. My parents supported me in every decision I made, but they said, you've made your bed, now you gotta lay in it. I ended up going from not being able to graduate high school to working in a gas station to a Ford dealership to then I worked at this exotic car dealership that they had a race shop in the back. They had a 993 RSR, so I'd always go there after work and try to just let me do anything here, anything, and they'd kick me out. I kept bugging him, and he let me finally start sweeping floors, and then ended up going to racetracks with him.
Tim and I met when we were about 20 years old, club racing in Southern California. I was working there, he was working up in Seattle, but he came down to run a 993 RSR, and that's the same car I was running as well, so we kind of looked at each other cross-eyed.
To further my career, moved to California, started working for Porsche Motorsport North America, and it's just been good opportunities, and started BBI shortly after that. At BBI, we have Jared, our engine builder. He's a maniacal OCD guy who really just geeks out on the engines, and they have to be perfect. We have Louis, aka the fabricator, and he's unbelievably talented. Everything is built in-house, from the engine, and obviously you have to build the headers and everything, and the exhaust and the intercooling system. Joey is the chassis engineer. He makes sure that the power gets put down to the ground. He's extremely good at paying attention to what the driver's saying, reading the tires. I mean, he makes sure that all the horsepower we're making with these cars are controllable.
The thing that I like about BBI is that there's such a combination of resources available, from fabrication to engine management to suspension setup.
And we have such a dense, focused group of individuals that are, I truly think, the best in their arenas in the industry. It blows my mind that they're even all under one roof.
Everyone knows who Jeff Zwart is. You know, we had posters in our shop, you know, signed by him. You think of Porsche and road racing only, but then you see posters of a 911 drifting sideways in the gravel. I mean, just awesome.
I've always kind of looked up to Jeff. He's an amazing photographer, videographer, historian when it comes to the early 911s, and really everything that has to do with Porsche.
Yeah, I first read about BBI in a magazine article. It was describing them putting a little over 1,000 horsepower in a 911, and I thought, running at a place like Pikes Peak and taking that horsepower down a little bit, but in a reliable way, I wanted to go see those guys.
Jeff Zwart came walking into our shop just unannounced, randomly. Said he was in the neighborhood one day. He just came in, said, I'd like to talk to you about Pikes Peak. We talked for 5 minutes and he was gone. It was kind of a little surreal.
You know, this year marks the 20th year since my first win. I ran a Carrera 4 that Porsche Motorsport and Andal worked together to turbocharge, and now we're back here with almost the same concept.
His challenge to us was to blend his two favorite cars that he ran up the mountain, the GT3 Cup, which was the best handling, most versatile car that he's ever driven, and then the most powerful car that he'd driven up the mountain, and that was the GT2 RS.
After running in 2010 and discovering what a great car the GT3 Cup car was, I had the opportunity to drive the GT2 RS, and it was just an eye-opener for me of what a modern turbo in an RS version would do.
Packaging it was going to be a challenge, keeping it cool was going to be a challenge, and keeping it safe and reliable was a challenge. And that was, we went full steam right at all of it, and really had a good time building it.
When we first built the car, we really did build it in less than 2 months. Jeff Zwart's car is not the most powerful car we've ever built. However, it is the fastest car we've ever built. It's unbelievably docile. You can put the power down in almost any gear. You can stop the thing anywhere. It handles unbelievably well, no understeer. Aerodynamically, it's a very balanced chassis as well. As you enter Pikes Peak, you can look left when you're crossing the dam, and you can see the peak in the morning because it's lit, and it doesn't seem like that's the same place. It seems like a different planet.
Is ominous the right word? You first drive up to the mountain and it's just ridiculous. It's huge.
Pikes Peak is unpredictable by its extreme nature. It comes up out of the plains, rises to 14,000 feet, so it creates its own weather.
When you're driving up there to go check it out to the peak, it takes forever. It's such a long drive. You think about it, you're going 20 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, and to make the time that we're trying to achieve, you have to average over 70 miles an hour for the entire distance, which is pretty wild. The car is 40% of what it typically is at sea level. The aero is bad, the heat dissipation is horrible, the power is hard to make because the air is so thin. Everything is designed around going 10 minutes. 10 minutes or quicker. The cooling system, you can get a good maybe 12 minutes out of it at full hard throttle, but your lights are coming on the dash after, and it is designed to stabilize at about 9 minutes and then just get to the finish line, you know, and that's not something that we did on accident. This car is really using everything that much.
The week of Pikes Peak is really difficult because we have to practice in the mornings before the mountain is open to the public, which means we leave at 3 a.m. from the hotel. We go up on the mountain, we set up our pit in the middle of nowhere, and they usually send out the first car to head up the mountain around 5:15. It's barely light, it's freezing cold, it's usually windy. We're racing before most people wake up.
So then you load up, come back down, you come to the shop, start either prepping the car, you go to breakfast. By the time you're eating breakfast, you've already had almost a 10-hour day. And it's, you know, it's 11, not even 11 o'clock in the morning yet, you know.
The way practice works is the mountain is divided up into thirds. So we drive 3 sections and we drive a different section each day. But the interesting thing is the first time we've driven the entire mountain as one run is on race day. So you have to put together your knowledge and what you've learned from 3 sections into that one day.
So when we first send him off, it really hits you because you have zero communication with him. You really don't have communication with anybody. You know, all you see is sometimes on the ticker, on the screen, he passes a segment of the track and then you see a number. Okay, good, he made it there. 4 minutes later, let's see what else is gonna happen.
Every single time he leaves the line, it's nerve-wracking because you never know. And that's motorsport in general, but this mountain really throws a lot of curveballs.
You relive every single nut and bolt that you've touched. You relive everything. I mean, you can almost sympathize with when they first sent man to the moon. So there's all these unknowns that you just have to do it and you have to try it. And then it helps prepare for the next time you go back.
Car number 111, Jeff Zwart.
This is just the beginning. I mean, that's what we always say. We're just getting started. We're just getting started, and we just keep pushing the envelope.
I always dreamed of having my own shop, and a successful one at that. And I don't define success with anything that's material. I would define that with how hard have we pushed ourselves? Are we moving forward? Do we learn from our failures? And does the group like to be there? I never saw a clear path to being here. And this to me, being in this position, you know, as all of us in the shop, is a success in itself. The passion and the energy and the heart of it is 10%. The other 90% is insanity. I don't think that anybody in the right mind would do it unless there was some sort of insanity, some sort of driving force that maybe you can define it, maybe you can't, but if it makes you happy and you're doing it, then you're successful in itself, just right there.